What's good, people? This episode isn't the one I had planned. Somewhere along the way, I turned my recording studio or setup into a lab. I've been deep in this project I started as a test network. Since that test has been successful, I'm pushing toward live data, real working equipment. That's where my time has been going for the past couple weeks. So it's not that I've been neglecting you guys. Trust me. But meanwhile, out in the market, crypto sentiment is weak. Prices are down. Patience is thin. Everybody's waiting on that one word in Washington, clarity. Here's the thread tying both of those together. Building doesn't stop just because nobody's watching. Not in a home lab, not in a test bench, and not in crypto. Progress and price are not on the same clock. Today, I'll give you both a state of my lab and where Superfluid and Zebec is at right now. I know I had a couple viewers interested in that update. So, I try to listen to my viewers, and I apologize for not getting that episode out faster, but I wanted some things to build up and actually to see where they're actually going and who is actually going to still be where they're at today. Because that's where a lot of people are thinking today is that the crypto world has changed. It's not going to be no more you can just throw money anywhere and anything is going to just grow. Now it's going to take allocating capital to the actual right places because not everybody's going to succeed this next bull run. So that's the word on the street. That's my opinion, and that's a couple of other analysts' opinion as well. But for all my new people, welcome back. Or for all my regulars and for the new people, welcome to the New Financial World, the podcast where we break down how electricity, technology, and digital finance are reshaping the real economy. I'm your host, Zach here. Quick disclaimer, this show is for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. Nothing you hear should be financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. Always do your own research and consult a licensed professional before making any financial decisions. All viewpoints on this channel are my own and are not of those of any employer or organization. Now, let's dive in. Two halves today. First, we'll talk about what's actually happening behind the studio. And second, what the listeners requested about the continuous payments, Zebec and Superfluid. And we'll also throw in a little clarity act in there just to give an update on that as well. I'll also include some corrections that need to be made from that episode. Same one, continuous money streaming. So here's what happened. I had another topic queued up, but the more time I put into the project, the more it made sense to just repurpose the space. Right now, the studio is part podcast, part test bench, equipment, sensors, and setup where I can push data through the same kind of pipeline you'd see in the real industry. I'm not going to do a whole walkthrough and polished lessons today. I'm going to tell you what's actually happening behind the scenes here, what I'm doing and what I'm working on. Well, a little bit about what I'm working on, just the honest state of work, really. And if you're new here, that's the bias of this show. I care less about what the technology promises and more about whether it survives contact with reality. That applies to a payment protocol and it applies to my own bill. So, phase one was a test network, basically a sandbox where I could see if my ideas around tracking, equipment events, and reliability data would hold up in practice. That meant simulating what you'd actually see on equipment. Why simulate first? Because if the model can't handle a clean, controlled version of an asset life, it has no business touching a real one. You want to fail in the sandbox, not on the floor. And on the good news, the test network did exactly what I needed. It proved the basic model works. It's not theoretical anymore. That's the milestone that got me here today. And that's the reason this episode exists at all. Now, the next phase that I'm pushing towards is live data. Real signals off real working equipment, not simulated numbers. And that's a different animal. Simulated data is polite. It shows up on time, in format you expected it, with the values you designed for. Real equipment doesn't do that. I'm trying to set it up the same mess you'd get in the field. Noise signals, imperfect setups, sensors that drift, all the things that show up not clean in the diagram. So right now, I'm building the pipeline from actual equipment to the tools I've been designing. And honestly, because I come from electrical maintenance and reliability work, that's exactly the bar I hold this to. It doesn't matter if it looks good in a demo. It actually matters if it holds up on the floor for someone who has to trust it during a shutdown or startup. I know this isn't my normal format that I normally do my episode in, but I just want to give you guys a quick update on why it was kind of taking a little bit longer to push out an episode. But the goal is simple: give people in maintenance and reliability a trustworthy way to look at equipment, history, and condition without making their lives complicated. Once pieces are actually in place and ready to share, I'll do a quick episode and an overview of everything. But a few of you actually asked me about this next part we're about to go into directly. A few of you wrote after episode Ethereum Economic Zone, Rise of Continuous Money, what's happened with Zebec and Superfluid? What's up with them? What have they been up to since then? Which is a fair question. And before I update you, let me clarify a few things I said back then. In the episode EEZ, I described Superfluid mainly through the instant distribution agreement. That's outdated now. Superfluid's protocol documentation shows that instant distribution agreement has been superseded by the general distribution agreement, or GDA, which supports many-to-many constant flow distributions, not just one-to-many. GDA is the current model now, not IDA. Zebec's real source 2026 progress is on Solana, Stellar, and Card Rails, which we'll get into. Same episode I mentioned about the Clarity Act, full Senate action is not expected until May or June 2026 at the earliest. That undersold it. It's August 4th, and there's still no Senate floor vote. But Superfluid and Zebec still share one big idea. Money shouldn't have to move in batches, but they sit at a different layer. Superfluid is a protocol infrastructure for EVM networks, a programmable money layer other apps build on. Zebec is becoming a vertically integrated, a PayFi company, packaging payroll cards, treasury tools, and staking into a system people can actually touch. Superfluid is the plumbing, Zebec is the faucet, the sink, and increasingly the whole kitchen. Superfluid's progress is kind of quiet by design. It's live across Ethereum and major EVM networks, Base, Arbitrum, Optimism, Polygon, Avalanche, BNB Chain, and others per its developers' documentation. The core primitives today are money streaming and distribution pools with general distribution agreement now started for one-to-many and many-to-many flows, fully replacing the older instant distribution system. There's a genuinely new case in 2026 too. Superfluid confirmed streaming SOUP directly to AI agents as real income, not grants. Automatic, on-chain, real time. That's machines getting paid the same way people are. Infrastructure can be valuable even when everybody outside developers knows its name. Superfluid's real test is integration and usage, not headlines. Zebec is loud by comparison, and every number is company reported, not independently audited, okay? I just want to be upfront here. Zebec Q1 2026 report confirmed the Super app launched on desktop that quarter, combining streaming payroll, cards, staking, payments, and treasury tools. It also confirmed the final ZBCN token unlocked completed in March 2026, and a holders crossing 100,000. Market cap now shows roughly 109,000 holders as of late July. By quarter 2 2026, per Zebec's own reporting, monthly payroll volume grew to about $52 million, up from $49 million. Employees served rose to roughly 13,800. Enterprise clients hit 251. Cards issued reached about 23,300. With annualized card volume around $68 million and over 500,000 transactions across roughly 97 countries. Again, company reported, not audited. On expansion, Zebec's confirmed its first deployment beyond Solana this year. Stablecoin payroll infrastructure on Stellar for large global enterprises, plus new integrations including Dash, Elio, and white label card partnerships on Canton Network, but hasn't shipped publicly as of Q2 close, not confirmed live. Zebec has also reported an ongoing buyback, over 504 million ZBC and repurchased as of late July, funded by operating revenue. That's a company trying to turn continuous money into a distribution businesses, not just a crypto feature. Now the Clarity Act, because the market keeps pricing the bill like it's already law. Here's where it stands today. The House passed its version in July 2025. 294 to 134. Senate Banking advanced its version 15-9 in May. Senate Agriculture advanced its piece back in January. On June 1st, the merge bill landed on the Senate's legislation calendar, eligible for a floor vote, and basically where it's sat. No floor vote schedule. Senate Republicans released a revised 616-page merge draft on July 22nd with new ethics language worked out with the White House. But Democrats whose votes are needed said it still falls short on ethics, consumer protection, and developer liability. The Senate leaves for recess around August 7th and returns September 14th. Prediction markets odds of the bill becoming law in 2026 have fallen roughly 30 to 34%, down from the 80% in February. My opinion is unchanged. Crypto will be fine either way. This industry already built global markets, stablecoins, lending, and payments without perfect American rulebook. Clarity would reduce friction and keep development onshore. It doesn't create the underlying demand for real-time payments. The demand already exists. Here's where both halves land in the same place. My lab work says equipment, events, and conditions data should be tracked continuously, not restructured after something breaks. Superfluid and Zebec says money should move continuously, not in batches. Same instinct, two industries. Continuous real-time systems are the direction, whether or not headlines are paying attention. And weak sediment or a quiet studio with no episode drop is exactly when you get a gap between price and progress is easiest to see. My project moved from a successful test network to a real equipment data. Superfluid is still building the infrastructure under continuous money. Zebec is building outward toward payroll, cards, and enterprise tools. But building doesn't stop, and it isn't waiting on Washington or an audience to say, go. So the better question isn't when will regulation save crypto? It's which systems are still useful when nobody feels bullish. That's why this episode looks a little different. If energy, technology, and streaming finance is your thing, stick around. There's more coming once this is proven out on live equipment. This is the New Financial World powering tomorrow. Thank you for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please don't forget to leave a comment if there's something I might have mistaken or I might need more clarification on. I love to hear feedback from everybody in my audience, and I love to know what you guys are thinking. So until next time, learn, adapt, and prosper. And like always, stay energized.